Hello and welcome to the Outstanding Shift podcast with your host, Andrew Evans from Rossby Financial. I'm your producer, RJ Malik, and on this podcast, Andrew, I see you'll be talking with your very first guest. So why don't you introduce your guest and then tell us what you'll be talking about today?
Yes, thank you so much. It's great to do another podcast. RJ, it's always great to see you. So I have the wonderful opportunity to introduce my first guest as being my wife, the Lindsay Grace Evans, who I've known for many a year. She is our guest today, and people might say, well, geez, isn't that a little, why would you invite your wife on? Like, what's she going to talk about? And then, my goodness, there is no me without her. I wouldn't be here, certainly without her and everything that she has. We have a wonderful symbiotic relationship, I would think. And, the theme of this show is the outstanding shift. And that is to say, what does it take to become outstanding? How do you have to shift your perceptions? What do you have to do to become outstanding? And Lindsay.
Yes. Hi, everybody.
You are a product manager. You're the head of product management at your company. We would love for you to give us an intro. Tell us what you do. And after that, I'm gonna give you a great big question that's going to lead right into how you could become outstanding. But I think everybody would love to know more. Nobody cares about me. They want to know about you.
All right. Well, thank you, Andrew. And I am extremely honored to be your first guest of your podcast. So thank you so much for inviting me. And yes, great relationship, great partnership in a lot of different things. I think we do an immense amount of conversations about our businesses and the growth that we've both had over the past X number of years. Since you didn't disclose it, I'm not going to disclose it. So we don't have to actually own our ages at this point in time, right? Because we've been together more than half of our lifetime. So
we've been together longer than social media.
Which is
How about that?
Deal.
That's a big deal.
It is a big deal. All right. I am the VP of product for a company called Kare Technologies. And what the organization does is help to answer the questions how to staff optimally, recruit optimally, and retain optimally in senior living, and creating a suite of products to help do that. And, as a head of product or any product manager, our main goal is to solve market problems, right? Focus on what's the problem and or opportunity within a market set, and being obsessive about solving that problem. If you bring customer value, that brings business value. But there's always that balance, right? The business only exists with income and revenue. And so how do we make sure that our product set features are going to build that value and bring in revenue, but mainly attract, attain, and retain customers across the board. So that's my role.
So here's the outstanding shift question, I guess.
Gotcha.
Knowing what you know about the financial services industry, we've been together for the amount of years. You've seen things and known things, and you've been in product management. You've done a lot. So I guess the question is from a product manager standpoint, Lindsay, why are we so bad at this? Why are we bad?
Why is anybody bad?
Not you and me. Not you and me.
No. Yeah. Why is the industry bad?
Why is the industry so bad at taking a product or a service and launching it? And I had something happen today that it's killing me on the inside that I will talk about
New news.
A little bit. But
breaking
Lindsay,
news, love it.
What causes, let's say, failure to launch, or failure for adoption from a product or a service standpoint, from your eyes?
Yeah, let's start at the very, very beginning.
Which is a very good place to start.
It is a very good place to start. Wait, so we said minimum cursing, but what is our level of singing on this podcast. I just want to make sure that the bar is very high.
We go to 11.
The question of why are we doing it wrong? Basically, what's the problem, right? And it's because a couple of things. One, you really have to start with what is the market problem? Like, why are we doing this? I think that there's a lot of times where there's a shiny object syndrome. And it's like, ooh, wouldn't it be cool if da 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 da? Great. That's really fascinating and fun and interesting.
I had that conversation today.
Ooh.
Somebody said, I have shiny object syndrome. Somebody said that to me.
Wow. That's because it's true, right? We're always chasing something new and interesting and fun. And some of the fun things, like I'm a big nerd, can be in like the small little nuanced things of fixes or features or something that brings joy. But like people want like big joy, right? And in some cases, or like, somebody who is leading an organization specifically has this idea of, wouldn't it be great if we did this? And yes, but what is the value to the customer? Like, what are they really wanting? And what's the why behind that why, right? We were talking a little bit about, the fact of like, okay, so like I need to put a nail in the wall. Okay, wait. Step back. Do you actually need a nail in the wall, or what are you trying to accomplish? What is your steps? What is your goal? Okay. Yeah.
And Lindsay, before you answer that, because I think you and I have a much better answer, because people will say, well, such they said, no, I just want a hole in the wall. But
right.
But you and I have a much better answer. So
right.
for those people that know that, have heard that before, I think we have a better answer. Okay, go ahead.
Because there's an assumption there, right? There's an assumption that like, oh, well, we know what the hole in the wall is for, what the nail in the wall is for. It's to hang a picture. But there's like 50 million ways that you can hang a picture. Are your resources? Do you have nails? Do you have a hammer? Do you have tape? Do you have hooks? Like, what do you have that could hang a picture? You don't necessarily always need a hammer and a nail. So it's like, what actual problem are you trying to solve? And I think that there's not enough curiosity to understand that background need. And so that's part of that product management is like, there's this shiny new thing, or like, oh yeah, there's this assumption that like everybody's going to do it. But there's this extra layer that you have to go through to really understand what is the reason, what is the why, what's the purpose, what's the problem or opportunity, and who is your customer.
Yeah. Well, Lindsay, let's go back just a little bit on that.
Okay.
So if we're saying, it's not just to have a hole in the wall. I want a hole in the wall.
Right.
No. And it's not just to hang a picture. It is to improve the quality of the room. It is to bring joy to a space. It is to put up a mirror so that you can see yourself, so that you could better yourself. It's to say put up a port. It's to hang the painted
family.
The family. The paint. My Aunt Betty Kay has a painted portrait of herself that will be fought over one day as an heirloom. That's what you want. Like it's more than the whole and the picture. It's what is it going to do, and how's that going to expand to the person and then the people around you. And I think also people probably heard that or think of that. Oh, well, I hung the picture. I'm done. Like they're too quick to pick a product, pick a service. Great, I did it. So it's that another thing, wouldn't you think? Like we solved the problem, moving on.
Yeah. Yep. And the understanding to exactly to your point of what is the value to the customer? Is it to see that vacation photo every time they pass by? Is it to see themselves, right? To give themselves a boost of saying like, look at like what I look like at this point in time? Is it to, is it simply just to like, say like, I need a reminder of something at any point in time, right? So what's the value to the customer is going to change their perception right? But it's funny, like you don't like a nail in the wall. It's like, well, it's just the method of hanging it. It's the same thing with workflows, right? You go from like, we need piece of information. It's like, okay, well, what is the purpose of that? What does it have to do? What is the reason? What outcome do we want to achieve, both from the business objectives as well as the customer objectives? And I think that there's sometimes this conflict of focusing too much on business objectives and not enough on the customer outcome.
Well, so let's talk about customer outcome, which I think I always think is really funny. Is we have in the industry we have a lot of things. We now have a lot of things. There's a lot of pieces of technology, and everybody knows. And I've heard said before, Michael Kitces puts out the Kitces Tech Map. And at this point, like, it's great, but anybody who references, like, so what's the point? It doesn't matter anymore because there's too much on it. And I say to myself, who talked to anyone and to say, like, is this what we really needed? So Lindsay, talk to us about, well, what's the process to actually decide, well, what is valuable? How do you actually figure that out? What do we do? What should we be doing?
Yeah. Well, the first thing is talk to people, right? I know, it's so crazy, with curiosity, right? Okay, let's back up the train, actually. 50 million steps. Okay. First thing is like, okay, who should you be talking to? Who is your market? Who are the people going to be utilizing your product, right? And it could be different, like, right? There's like, there's so many flavors of ice cream, right? Some people are like, I just want vanilla, 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 vanilla. Right? Some people are like, oh my gosh, today it's like mint chocolate chip. Tomorrow it's like chocolate chip cookie dough. Like, I like a lot of different things, right? So like one size does not always fit all when it comes to any product set, right? We were talking a little bit also like, like, what is your strategy as a business that you go out to, like, say, like, is your strategy to be a Walmart? All things to all people, right?
Yeah, just get everything that you possibly can, get it in bulk, drive down the price.
Right.
So that then, great, everybody just comes here, they don't go anywhere else.
Sure. And that works for some people. Some people need and want to shop at Walmart, right? So there's a strategy of saying, hey, we know people want to have, cheap things or in bulk things, or going to a place that has everything. So it's a one-stop shop, right? Like, I would much prefer to like do all of my shopping. I hate shopping, actually. I don't particularly love shopping. Well, okay, here's the thing. If I have a mission and I have an idea of something that I need, or a list of something that I need, fine, good. But like, I mean, I don't go thrift shopping and go through like rows and rows and racks of stuff to find the right thing. Like, oh gosh, it's so exhausting.
No, I did not marry my mother.
No. My family also like loves to do some really amazing thrift shopping and finding the deals. I'm like, that's okay, fine.
No, we don't do that. We don't do that. If we need something, we'll go find it. But no.
But so
we're not going out to spend money.
Right. Understanding your customer base and then having like that strategy of like, what are the customers that you want to attract or that you want to go after, but you have to understand those customers. So, you could do the Walmart strategy, everything for everybody. You could do the, Home Depot strategy, saying similar, a little bit different. It's a little bit more focused.
It's not
only
everything.
housewares.
Yep.
Right.
DIY for the home.
Exactly. But you can still buy paint at Walmart and paint at Home Depot. They're just different qualities, different purposes, different, like outcomes. You paint a wall and like, what's going to be the result on either. And then you have something like, an Ace Hardware, where it's even a little bit more specific and nuanced with expertise. And each one of them has a different price point. Each one of those has a different customer base that likes all of them. Somebody could literally, though, shop at all three of them. But it's really the question of like, who do you want to go after? And believe me, in the grand scheme of things, there are buyers for almost everything. But you have to understand what is their problem, what are they trying to solve, and what's the value to them. And the best way to find that out is like to, one, know kind of like, okay, this is where I want to be. I want to have a store for housewares or for home goods, whatever.
Now you're talking just for our listeners at home. Now you're talking about a winning aspiration, or as Roger Martin puts it, where do you want to play?
Right.
Okay,
exactly.
So this is the where do you want to play?
Where do you want to play?
Okay.
Right. So where do you want to play? And then being obsessive then of how do I win, by understanding like who are these people that would be my customers, and like what is their actual problems? What's their friction points? What do they not like about other things? What do they like about things? What are they trying to, what is their goal? Right? I think in the financial transferring that to a financial advisor specifically, somebody might have a goal that they just want, to have a legacy of their money. They want to save as much as possible. Maybe they're very, very low risk, or they want to make sure that they have something to pass down to their kids. Other people are like, dude, I want to make sure that I have a fun time when I retire, right? I just want to like really enjoy that point of my life. And so I want to save or like make as much money as possible. And some people just want to burn through their money now. Like, I'm going to die any day, so let's just go for it, right? And there's just so many different perspectives, right? It's like, who do you relate to and what do you want to do? And there's a lot of different products out there that can satisfy any one of those needs.
Yeah. So what for someone who's looking through and trying to then build, or okay, now somebody wants to start a service business, or maybe they're thinking about starting a product and they want to make something outstanding. So they know where they know what they want to do, but how would you recommend to them? I shouldn't say recommend. How would you suggest to them? How do they get that information? What is that?
Yeah. So when so identifying who those cohorts are, having conversations, but there's also lots of tools out there too. To be able to do interviews or like get out there. I know like user testing, like just Google like different user testing platforms that you could like find people.
What's user testing?
Ooh.
Lindsay, nobody has any idea how any of this works. Okay, let me come back. Lindsay, nobody listening to this podcast has any idea what you're talking about.
Okay.
Everybody's like, most of them should be advisors or like wholesalers or people that like sell things. So they're like, what?
Right. Well, every conversation is an opportunity to ask questions and to learn. So like, number one, just like take those opportunities. Like, what can I learn from this? And like, can I even interject some of these questions just to get an understanding? So, having some, knowing your niche, like where do I want to play? Who are the people? Like having conversations like, oh, is this interesting to you? Is this not? Da, 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 da. Be curious. I love the open-ended questions. It was like, tell me where do you go for information, or where do you go for financial, advice, or just just be curious, and asking normal conversations is a great place to start. But also, so user testing is a way to take some of the questions that you have and validate, get information, get answers back, but also validate assumptions. Because we make a lot of assumptions as humans. And we know that the saying about assume, right?
Oh yeah, you can say it. That's okay.
God, yeah, if you assume, you make an ass out of you and me, which is, there's some assumptions that you're like, oh, I feel this in my bones that this is right. But in reality, people will sometimes say something and act very differently. And so you really do have to test the assumptions that you have. And part of that testing of assumptions is to do some sort of either interviews and or surveys and or user testing.
So like right now, so user testing surveys. Okay. Right now, we have maybe like 2-3-ish programs that are specific for financial services, for, let's say, user feedback. Obviously, this is here's my clause, no recommendation one way or the other, but I do obviously have to give a shout out to Tom Riemann of Practice Intel, because he does a great job of pulling in information and getting great feedback from clients to really understand, their being. But I think we perhaps rely too much on what do I want to say here? I think advisors tend to be pensive to directly ask their clients what they want. Conversely, I feel like that is all the way up the food chain. Everybody would much rather send a survey than really want to sit down and ask me a question about how I want to participate in a piece of technology or a process. So I'm kind of switching this up real quick, Lindsay, and I want to get your feedback.
Yeah.
So case in point, talking to a company, and what I realized is that I asked them to help with us. Like I contacted them about a product to help us review a certain aspect at a broad firm level. They pitched me as if I was an individual advisor. And I said, no, I don't do all those things. I'm talking about this level.
Mm-hmm.
And then they said, oh, well, yeah, well, you can do that, but you have to do it like this. And all of a sudden I realized, wait a minute, looking back at everything else I did, there's a huge gap here. I'm kind of running down a tangent. So
Yeah.
pardon me for a second.
Right.
There is a gap.
I'm used to it.
Yeah, I know.
I got it.
So there's a gap. There's institutional sales in financial services, people that have built these programs that service, mutual fund companies and major investment managers and things like that. And then there's all these tools that then service the individual advisor that's servicing an individual client, or let's say an employee RIA firm servicing. Everybody's an employee there, but there's this middle market that everybody's missing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So where am I going with this? How do we break that cycle of just bring me into the conversation? Please stop sending surveys. If somebody just sends me a survey again, Lord, I would much rather help you improve your product and make it at an enterprise level than you give me pre-canned questions that you probably are asking so that I'm driving to the answer that you want. Okay, so that's my attitude back.
Right.
That's kind of what I'm. So we're getting saucy here on the
getting
the podcast.
Saucy, yeah.
So from a product manager standpoint, help us and our listeners think of ways to get wonderful feedback, break any sort of attitude of not wanting to, if they have it or not, to get wonderful feedback directly from clients to really understand what we can do to make a wonderful relationship with them. Not only that, for the product people that are listening to this, because I have good friends there,
mm-hmm.
to make better products for them. Help come to the how can they help advisors with making better products as well? Help firms make better products.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's listening, Lindsay. Just take over.
I know, right?
Take over the industry.
Gosh. Well, there's
be blunt.
A lot of interesting things to unpack there. But I think the one major thing that just came out of that was so I'm just going to say this like in a really interesting way. People are so afraid to fail that they fail.
Amen.
You know what I mean? It's like, hey, I don't want to be aware that I'm failing. So I'm just going to keep on going down this path. And any data or information that comes back to me, if it's shiny object, if it's against what, my assumptions are, but they don't know any better. But because we're not testing and asking, I think, the right questions in a lot of ways, we're just like exactly what you said was, I'm asking questions and doing surveys, to prove me right. And I feel like we need to change our mentality to say, okay, I want to understand where I'm wrong. And it is okay to be wrong. But there's this like perception, I think, and transparency that we should have with any of our customers to say, like, I want to understand this better. This is what I believe. How am I wrong on like help me understand this? Not in a combative way, but in like I love when customers tell me things that are wrong and bad things of like, why did you do this? This doesn't make any sense. This is 50 million steps. Why did you do this? You're just like, I asked for something or you thought that we needed something and you just tacked it on to a current process. But now instead of doing like, 5 steps and being about, 85% of completion, now I have to do 15 steps. And even though that gets me to 90%, that's not really helpful if I have to increase my time in your product, depending on what your goals are.
And in the failure, being afraid to fail. So our friends, again, this is not a recommendation, but we really do like them. Our friends over at Seeds Investing, Zach and Kelsey. So they had a podcast and they said something really great. And I think it's something, Lindsay, you and I believe, is that they said, hey, get something to pretty good, a service or if it's a product, get it up on its feet and see how it goes and improve it and try it and iterate. And you know what? If it's not working, it's okay. Shut it down. But if it is working and you do see some signs and you are getting good feedback, then guess what? Iterate, make it better, keep going.
I think
you got to get it on its feet.
Right. And I think also like people expect like, okay, the end goal is to build a Ferrari, right? The amount of time and effort.
I want a McLaren.
Okay, sorry. Change the metaphor. The end of this is to build a McLaren.
Thank you.
But between getting started to the McLaren is a lot of steps. And if you're not pulling people in as your customers along the journey to even like ask questions or review it or test the assumptions, like, as you're building something, it's much easier and better if you like, oh, here's a skateboard. Okay. Here's now a scooter. Okay. Did it get you to where you're going? Okay. Now let's build a bicycle. Right. Okay, cool. And you just keep on like building and building. And I think like, there's this idea. And the reason why I say like people are like, fear of failing is because they're like, well, nobody's gonna use a skateboard, or a skateboard's not good enough or not enough. It's like, okay, yes, but you don't necessarily have to put that in production. You can always just, or like, from a service standpoint, run a beta, run a test, do it with a couple of people, start small, build from it, learn.
Yeah, it's called like A/B testing, people.
Right.
These are all things that they've always done forever.
You should always just be creating a hypothesis. I believe that people will do X when they're presented with this information. Okay, great. Let's try it out. Let's find out, right? Fuck around and find out. We gotta do it, right?
That's right.
At some point in time, you just have to like say like, okay, rip the Band-Aid. Like, we're just going to try and learn from it. And I think people are more afraid of like exposing that. Be transparent. So like, we're doing a test. This is a trial. This is what we're, attempting to accomplish. Does this work or does this not work? And then go from there. But I think like, it is hard. Like there's a lot of companies, I should say a lot of fintech feels like a Titanic, because you asked this question at the beginning, you take this product, I need this, I need this, I need this. Okay, well, here's this product, bolt on, bolt on, bolt on, bolt on, but they never simplified it in the process. So now there's just this monolith of crazy, and it's really hard to tease out the functions of it. But now like everything is managed in 50 million different places, and it's just bananas. Too many bananas.
It is too many bananas. That's an inside family thing. Please send us an email. We'll tell you all about it.
I mean, crazy, right?
But we are getting closer to time here. Hopefully everybody was getting a little bit jazzed up. So we'll finish on a thought. But on that, because it's my podcast, I'll say this, is that I think that's the general problem, that what we have to get to, what all firms have to look at to get to outstanding, is that they just keep bolting on junk.
Right.
Okay. Even though the individual program might be great, you just keep slapping something on and slapping something on. And we just keep seeing horrible code built upon horrible code just because. And it's so disappointing. And now what really chaps my ass is, and that's a technical term, is now there's so many now new companies coming out that have AI in them. We have AI,
Ooh,
and they're getting all this funding. But then when you use it, like, it doesn't do anything. Like, it literally, like, you have AI in it and you got funded with, $10 million or whatever. Yeah, but it doesn't do anything.
Because it all comes back to, like, what is the value to the customer?
Exactly.
Like, what are we really trying to do? What's the, I mean, that's in essence, it should always come back to that.
Absolutely.
What are they trying to do? What is their goal? What's their mission? You were asking about, like, also enterprise stuff, right? Of, like, different layers. That's just different user types. And so you just have to kind of say, like, okay, what's the process flow of any one of these things that we have to do, and who should be included in it? And so I think that there's a lot of missteps just in outlining that, understanding that, and identifying that along the way. So that way, then you're considering those people as they're going through the process.
Lindsay, as we're wrapping up, as RJ tells us, the time has come. The time has come.
For one and all.
Okay, not this one, not this one. This one, but not this one.
Moments.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what? Give us quick nuggets as advisors are thinking about what they're going to roll out to service clients better, and or any of the product companies that are listening in, technology otherwise, how all of us can provide a better product or service to whoever our end client is. What do we need to start with now, today? How can we restart today? What should we do?
We should really look at what do we believe? What do we believe and what is actual? And that's all with customer conversations and, like, what is that market problem that we're trying to solve? Try not to chase the shiny thing. And I think you learn a lot by being very transparent and saying, I'm just curious about this. Help me out. Help me understand. And be sincere with that. And I think I've always had great conversations with people when I'm like, just please tell me good, bad, ugly. I want to know. And by presenting it that way, people are much more open to giving me information and then asking follow-up questions. It's just like spin selling, right? Situation, problem. I don't remember the other two letters, but
implication
there you go.
And need payoff. There you go. All right.
There you go.
And I think that'll do it. And I think that'll do.
Excellent. It was great conversation. Lindsay, before you go, contact information if people want to ask you questions or just get in touch with you.
So you can find me on LinkedIn. I think there'll be a LinkedIn,
Probably.
LinkedIn somewhere on there, right?
Yeah.
Of getting a hold of me on there. Also, you can find me at levans@doyoukare.com. That's DOYOUKARE.com if you want to send an email as well.
Sounds good.
Or also contact Andrew. I mean, he'll just send it to me as well.
Andrew, your contact information.
It is, as everybody knows from if they listen to the first one, hey, give me a call, 321-209-0157. That's always a fun one. Or you can always catch me on LinkedIn or email me at aevans@rossbyfinancial.com.
Andrew, you're always getting new listeners with every podcast, so that's why you have to give out your information each time.
Every time.
I know. But if I say that, then they're like, oh, well, what was great about the last one? Well, you need to go back and listen to the last one.
I see what you're doing.
The last one was also awesome.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you. Most importantly, thank you for listening to the Outstanding Shift podcast. If you have not subscribed to the podcast, please click the subscribe button below. This way, when the team comes out with a new podcast, it will show up directly on your listening device. And we humbly ask you to share this podcast, rate it, and leave a review because this actually helps others find the show. Again, thank you for listening. And for Andrew and Lindsay, I'm RJ Malik, and we look forward to you joining us for our next podcast.
Thank you for listening to The Outstanding Shift. Don't forget to hit the follow button to be notified when new episodes become available. Visit our websites at www.ouroffice.team, www.rossbyfinancial.com, or give us a call at 321-209-0111. The information provided in this video is for informational purposes only and does not constitute investment advice or a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Past performance is not indicative of future results. You should consult a qualified financial professional before making any investment decisions.